Welcome back to the program. Joining me now is Dr. Jeff Standridge. He's the chief catalyst for the Conductor. He's the co-founder of Cadron Capital Partners, and he teaches in the College of Business at the University of Central Arkansas. Former Axiom executive. You got a little bit going on?
Got a little bit going on.
Just a tad.
Having a great time, though. Having a great time.
And I should say a best-selling author. Of two books, The Innovator's Field Guide and The Top Performers Field Guide. Now, are these books accelerating because there's only two books in the field that they're measured by, or are there other books that...
Probably more of the former than the latter.
I'm kidding.
No, very, very pleased at some of the feedback I'm getting.
Good. Tell me what's in these books.
So I spent about 25 years while I was at Axiom and also when I was a professor at UAMS studying top performance. And so much of what's in the Top Performers Field Guide is a distillation of some of that in small, digestible quantities. After I left Axiom, actually before I left Axiom, I really started getting into the innovation field and recognizing that 36% of all small businesses fail because they create a product that no one wants. So really, we spend a lot of time teaching innovators that you have to think as much or more than you do.
Yeah, right. What's your market for what it is that you may have come up with the best invention in the world, but who's going to use it?
But who's going to use it, and is it solving a problem they're willing to pay for?
Right. Let's talk about what's going on at the Conductor up there. I think a lot of people statewide don't understand what all is happening with the scope of the Conductor. We see some things that are happening with the Innovation Hub, with the Tech Park. There's Startup Junkie, a lot of stuff in Northwest Arkansas, even some stuff in Northeast Arkansas.
That's right.
Conway's carving out a little niche here.
We started carving out this niche in about 2013 or so with the formation of a steering team, and then Cadron Creek Capital that came out in 15. And the vision of Tom Courtway and the Board of Trustees at UCA, and certainly a vision that was adopted by current President Houston Davis and even expanded, was the Conductor. And it's a public-private partnership between UCA and Startup Junkie Consulting in Northwest Arkansas. So we've bridged that chasm, if you will, between the northwest part of our state and the central part of our state. We consider ourselves one team, and we're focused on driving innovation, entrepreneurship, talent development, and economic empowerment in Central Arkansas and beyond.
So what are you creating a space where people can come and collaborate and put things together? Are you going out and recruiting specific potential startups to come locate there and gain something under your tutelage?
So we started as a movement, not a building. Very important. We've spent the last couple of years really focused on borrowing and begging for space wherever we could find it, because we didn't want to have so much of our emphasis on trying to pay for space. And so we're about programming, building an ecosystem. We have an accelerator that's going on right now that's a partnership between Matova, the Conductor, Startup Junkie, and the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, thanks to the Governor's Accelerator Fund. Yeah. And so we have about 13 companies in our first cohort. They're about 18 weeks in, 17 weeks in. And they are actual Arkansas companies with a minimum of $100,000 in revenue that are coming from Northwest to Southeast Arkansas, coming to Conway every Tuesday to learn how to scale their business.
Well, what's the thrust of the common thread that these businesses have together? They're not financial, they're not healthcare, they could be a little bit of everything.
They're cross-industry, but they have to be tech or tech-enabled, looking to scale. They're growth-oriented companies. And so if they have 100,000, we want to help them get to 1 million and more or beyond.
So where do you see the Conductor kind of fitting in terms of that niche when you look at some of the other things that are in this entrepreneurial ecosystem that we have in all corners of the state?
Sure. Well, first of all, we're a collaborator. So we collaborate with the Tech Park and with the Venture Center. We collaborate with the Arkansas Innovation Hub and, of course, our partners in Northwest Arkansas. So we really see it as a single ecosystem. Conway's a unique niche because we have 3 institutions of higher education, a highly educated workforce, some very large employers around Axiom Corporation and the former Hewlett-Packard facility and the announcement that came out with Molex moving a design center to Conway. A lot of economic development activity happening in Conway, and we needed to be part of that ecosystem. And so that's where our origins came.
Where are you going with it?
Well, we want to continue driving job creation. So we're working together to also establish a venture fund where we can not only invest in Arkansas-based startups, but if you think about it for the very first time, and I didn't mention this, Conway Corporation has just announced a couple of weeks ago that they're acquiring the City Hall in Conway to create an Arnold Innovation Center named after the retired CEO, Richie Arnold. So for the first time in the state of Arkansas, we have the Tech Park, the Arnold Innovation Center soon to be online, and the Exchange up in Northwest Arkansas. So we have space. We have entrepreneurial support organizations in the Venture Center, the Innovation Hub, the Conductor, Startup Junkie, and some things going on in Northeast Arkansas. And with proper funding, venture funding, and private investors, we'll now have the money to go and not only support Arkansas entrepreneurs, but to go outside the state and find those emerging companies and recruit them into one of those geographies to help them get access to Axiom, Walmart, J.B. Hunt, or whomever, but also to surround them with the entrepreneurial support that they need as well. So we're very, very excited about the vision. That's where we're trying to go.
Is your role changing in all of this? How do you juggle all of these different hats that you have on?
You know, I'm kind of a put-me-in coach person. You know, I'm a utility player, and I did that when I was at Axiom. I did that when I was at UAMS, and you know, we have Kim Lane, who's the CEO of the Conductor, and she is doing an absolutely phenomenal job. I spend the vast majority of my time doing one-on-one coaching, consulting, and mentoring with entrepreneurs, and then working on trying to raise the funds that we need and create awareness.
So let's talk about the funds. How big of funding are we talking about here? 20 million?
We would like to raise a $20 million fund. We're being very specific about the institutional investors and the high net worth individuals that would participate in that fund. You know, it will be, we envision half of the fund to be focused on equity investments and half to be focused on venture debt.
And the attraction is, again, you can come to some of the different geographies that you mentioned, but for a lot of people that don't understand or haven't been to Conway recently, there's a lot happening in downtown Conway. I was just up there about 2 weeks ago, and it's phenomenal, which I've watched it grow over the years. But
well, Brad Lacey and the team at the Conway Development Corporation, the Conway Chamber, and others are doing a phenomenal job. There is a lot of economic development activity going on. There's a lot of downtown development work going on. Real estate development, Trinity Development just announced their new multifamily complex, and so we're coming on strong, and we're not stepping off the gas.
Got a couple of colleges there that could be potential feeders for some employment in some of those spaces too. Doesn't hurt.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely right.
City of colleges, I think Conway is. Last question for you, and that is, what's the missing link? What's not here in this ecosystem, this entrepreneurial ecosystem that needs to be here right now? Where are we really missing where other places around the country are not?
Venture funding is one of them. One of the reasons we're raising this fund is because most of the smaller angel type funds are fully invested and have announced that they're not raising another fund. And so if we don't do a good job of raising this fund and encouraging those institutional investors, both Arkansas institutional investors and other potential private investors, then there won't be enough money to invest in the Arkansas-based startups. We don't want to lose companies like we have lost because they can't raise the $150 to $1.5 million, $2 million, and they have to go outside the state. Well, when they go outside the state, some of those investors, those lead investors say, we want you in our state.
Right.
And so we don't want to lose them. That's number one. Number two, I really think we have an opportunity to have more engagement of local industry. We've got that in varying degrees, but I'd like for our established companies to recognize that pouring into the ecosystem, if you will, helps them to identify a talent pool. Even established companies want to hire innovative entrepreneurial talent. So everything that we do to create entrepreneurial innovative talent, to recruit that talent, is accretive not only to the entrepreneurial ecosystem, but to our established employers as well.
Anything from a policy perspective? I got a couple of legislative leaders in the audience here today.
Well, I'll tell you, the Governor's Accelerator Fund is vital. I have the privilege of seeing what the Governor's doing by serving on the Career Education and Workforce Development Board, as well as the Board of Science and Technology. And so our Governor's headed in the right direction with some of those things. I think funding is really where we need to make sure that we're putting the right funds on the right things, and we're moving in that direction, absolutely. So very, very proud and pleased of our administration.
All right, it's Jeff Standridge. Good to be with you.
My
Keep
pleasure.
up the good
Thank
work.
You. Appreciate you for
Good to
having
see
me.
you. It's been too long since we sat down and had a good conversation.
Let's do it again sometime.
All right, we'll do it.
Thanks so much.
And that is all for today's Talk Business and Politics. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.